I have found evidence of a hay stealer. That hay stealer is me. I have found the hoist vehicle right here. So hopefully this hoist vehicle gets me to work a bunch more times, stuff like that. But I'm working on my garden today, or the prepping for my garden. So as I explained in the last few videos, why I'm doing this. This is a good little experiment for people. The hay method, the straw is better, yes, I know, but this was free, and you might as well use it up. Next year I'll throw straw on it. So if you can keep it cheap, and you can, the only thing you have to worry about fresh stuff is that it will recede, and you know, you'll have hay and stuff like that to deal with, which might take over your garden. So you got to be careful with that. So that's why I'm using this really old stuff too. But I did use, you can barely see it, but there's still some straw left. See if we can. Leaves are really good. See, look at all the, look, it's 34 degrees out right now. Not even an inch under, and it's still soaking wet. It's still soaking wet. So how good is that ground going to be for growing, right? All I got to do is add a little bit of nutrients, which I'm probably going to do something really radical, like put a lot, because I had corn in there before, and that stuff will suck away all the nutrients. I'm going to fertilize that about 2 weeks before, which is maybe next weekend, about 2 weeks before I plant anything, so that, you know, it takes the sting out of the fertilizer. But yet, when I do plant everything, the ground's not just, you know, okay, here's, you're putting it into ground with no nutrients. One of the biggest problems with giant agro and stuff like that is that because you're growing so many plants in such a dense area, even a 1,000-acre farm or a 10,000-acre farm, that's a dense area to be growing stuff that's very nutrient reliant, right? So you'll deplete the soils in a very short amount of time, a decade or two, if you're you know, like these old farms here. You know, technically can't call us a farm anymore, but this was all farmland when I was a kid, right? And it wasn't bad, right? But now it's like you dig anywhere here 2 inches under, it's just beach sand, right? Like there's no nutrients left in the stuff, but it doesn't mean you can't return it. They did a permaculture thing in the Sahara Desert, which has pretty much no water whatsoever, and they were able to grow using this method of trapping moisture in with great success. They did have to create their own, you know, like water basins store, and they used basically water purifiers and stuff. It was a high-tech government experiment to see if you could feed the third world, right? And it works. Like, the technology will work. Now, here, I don't have all the problems of the Sahara Desert, thank God. So this would definitely works here. I've already proved this concept about 2 years ago. I got about 500 pounds of vegetables in that 20, you know, maybe 15 by 30 garden or whatever it is that I got there. Looks like I'm gonna have to get some more hay though, because I don't want to spread it too thin. You want it in there as thick as possible, and like that. So the next rainfall, I mean, underneath here is going to be just really lush. But I'm going to start adding fertilizers everywhere. I'm not worried about the scotch grass that comes up, but you can see how much it holds, just the leaves hold back. Again, let's have a look. Right near a rock. Wet. You know what I mean? So natural compost, right? Build that up for 5 years doing that. Yeah. you know what I mean? Like, it takes care of itself. And it comes back to that lady that started it all back in end of World War II, or right during World War II, starting the permaculture idea. She had nothing and she used what she had. That's the whole concept of permaculture anyway, is to make use of what you got. Now, that said, if you can get enough of whatever it is you need to start, you don't have to start big. You know what I mean? Like, you do the proof of concept. Like, because I'm a working man, right? I don't have time to spend hours a day weeding a garden, right? And that's why last year nothing happened, because I didn't get a chance to throw down the hay and the weeds took over. But this stops the weeds long enough for the big stuff to get big. And of course, when that happens, you know, it helps keep the weeds down too. So you can use this method on any scale level you want, right? Again, your success will vary. There's going to be people that are going to do it a lot more trim and nice than I will. But what I'd say is get the biggest cakes you can. Like get a bale. You know, if you can have the stuff 3-4 inches thick, that'll keep the weeds down for, you know, a week or two, just to get the stuff growing, right? I pity whoever's going to drive behind me tomorrow. It'll be a nice clean car. Just went through the car wash, and they're going to be like all full of hay by the time they get to where they're going. It's like some arsehole went and, you know, didn't sweep out the back of his box. You know, I like to use air conditioning to clean the back of the truck, right? So, so I'll try to get as much out of there as I can. But it looks like I didn't steal enough. Seems like there might have to be a second hoist, I think. Other things about this method that I've noticed was when I did it with the straw, the straw was really good because it's more dense than the hay. Like the hay is really fine stuff, right? And the thing I found was that the straw was easier to manipulate, if that makes sense. So I could basically use the straw later on. Leaves obviously give you the max density coverage, because once it rains once or twice, it flattens out to the point where you can't, you know, nothing gets in there. You know what I mean? Nothing gets in, nothing gets out. So if you make little holes and put your seeds in there, and that's the only hole you have to worry about, what I would do is put your seeds in a container so that you can see the rim of the container, like those little biodegradable, you know, coconut container or whatever, that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of cleanup in the yard. I didn't steal enough. I thought I stole enough. What kind of thief am I? You plan this hoist to steal 1987 hay, vintage hay, and you don't steal enough. Yeah, but I think my grandfather and grandmother would be looking down at me now. They'd either be really proud of me or going, what the hell's that idiot doing? It could go either way. It really could. Because the old timers didn't do stuff like this typically, right? They had their way of doing it, and that was it. And if you mention, you know, something a little different, they'd look at you like you had two heads. You know what to talk about, boy. You know what I mean? But sometimes they'd be like, oh, hey, that's a dandy idea. And yeah, so people have their methods. But when it comes to gardening, one thing that's new now is that, unfortunately and fortunately, because we've lost the art of the craft on a lot of things, farming being one of them, micro farming, you know, like homesteading, that kind of stuff. One of the good things is that people are more open to new ideas than they were in the past, because they didn't get so ingrained into one way of doing things. But one thing I did notice, just using straw, that looks clean enough. Say nothing. Okay, so is that when it was like 30 degrees out like it is right now, we went from basically frost in the morning to 30 degrees. Like we basically went from, like, you know, like we didn't even have a spring really. It was like a late spring. Okay, we're almost at the end of it, May. There's a couple more days left in May. I think today's the 27th. Okay, so a couple more days left in May. But I was pretty much wearing sweaters every morning going to work. And on top of that, you know, it was like there was a few mornings where, like, there was ice in the back of the truck. If it had rained the night before, there was literally ice in the back of the truck. End of May. But basically April, there was snow on the ground. You know, again, really late to the start, for me, late start to the season, trying to get basically my season going, like a month later, right? And it was cold up until about 3 days ago, and it felt more like October than April, or May, sorry. Okay, and now it's like, okay, we go from May to August. Like we're just like, what season is it? I don't know. We'll try August. We're almost into June. We'll try August though. So that should mean snow by August. God, I hope I'm wrong on that. Wacky. Get that scoop. Trying not to make too much. Sometimes when you try to clean up, you make more mess trying to clean up than you... I got him. Good. But yeah, I only stole half of what I need. I need to steal more. But yeah, so when you do get the heat waves and stuff like that, the one good thing, especially once the plants are up a bit, is that you... See, I want to come out to here, follow this line here right to the edge. The garden's actually where it was. I just don't want to make it bigger. So I'm not even going to spread, you say spread it out. No, no, don't spread it out. Keep it thick. Keep it thick. Thicker's better. It's that big chunk of fudge. Yeah. So I'm going to have to go steal more. And I want to be able to come out to, because this is all rocks here anyway, so rather than have to cut the grass, I'll go from that stone right in along on here. And my garden will go there. Lawnmower can get through there. Sharpen the blades on the rocks, like you're supposed to. And I can have all this here. It looks wacky at first, but after the first few rainfalls, when it mats down, then it makes complete sense. But there, like, I mean, these leaves were that thick in the fall. And that's how much it mats down to. And again, if you don't lift them, the moisture stays underneath. And once you start getting the plants coming over top of it, then you get all like in the fall, like all your corn stalks, you just bust them down. You don't take them away. That's nutrient, like just let it build on top of itself. If you got grass clippings, throw them in there, whatever. It's just let nature